Hello, this is Demon Phoenix with episode 5 of my stat maxing series for Final Fantasy X on a normal HP playthrough, so no break HP limit, 9,999 HP. Now here we are covering the luck stat and how to raise it, as it is the most difficult and probably the lengthiest grind apart from HP on a break HP playthrough in all of Final Fantasy X. It doesn't actually take as long as people think though, we'll be coming on to that in a minute. But first we have to establish why you need luck in the first place. So luck is extremely important for the harder Dark Aeons. So Dark Bahamut, Dark Yojimbo, Dark Anima, and Dark Sandy and Dark Mindy all have extremely high luck. And so to be able to actually hit them effectively, you need a very high luck stat as well, because of how the mechanics work in Final Fantasy X. Accuracy is not going to be enough. So the relationship between accuracy and evasion means that if evasion is very high, it becomes very difficult to hit an enemy, even not taking luck into account. But whilst the Dark Aeons don't have very high evasion apart from Dark Sandy and Dark Mindy, they have very high luck, and luck means that for every one more luck point they have than you have a 1% lower chance of being able to hit them. So if they have a very, very high luck stat, it's extremely difficult or even impossible to hit them anyway. So not taking into account Dark Sandy and Dark Mindy because they're so much harder to hit because of their evasion. On top of that, Dark Yojimbo has a very high luck, and so do Anima and Dark Bahamut, so you need high luck yourself. The 3 levels you can go for, you can either go for 35 luck, which is the very base, but you need Ultra Null All to be able to hit Dark Anima and Penance's arms as well. So that's quite difficult, because although you don't want to be dying in the Penance fight at all against Dark Anima, it would mean that you have to reapply the buffs if a character gets knocked out, such as Aim x5 or Riku's Ultra Null All Limit, just to be able to hit Dark Anima, and it can be very difficult to do that. So I would say it's better to have a little higher luck, and so 85 or 114 are what you want to aim for, in my opinion. So 85, this is fighting the Dark Major Sisters with the 85 luck, and you can hit them with overdrives, but even with Ultra Null All 85 luck, you will still be struggling to hit Sandy, and it's virtually impossible to hit Mindy. You can do it, but it's extremely difficult. And then basically the next stage up from that would be, instead of 85 luck with your 3 main characters, would be 114. Now the difference between 85 luck and 114 is about 7 fortune spheres, so per character, and so that if you do things properly and beat Earth Eater as quickly as possible, that doesn't actually equate to a lot of extra time. So hopefully that's what I'm going to be showing you in this video, and you can decide if you want to get either 35, 85 or 114 luck with the characters that you want to take on the Dark Aeons. Now 230 luck is an option, but it is literally only to hit Dark Mindy, and you still can't actually kill her in time with quick hit before the Major Sisters use Delta attack. So there isn't any practical situation that you would use 230 luck for, so that is something I would only ever consider on a break HP limit playthrough, where you otherwise don't have enough space on the sphere grid to get your 99k HP and still have enough stat nodes to max all the other stats. So basically you want to pick either 35 luck, 85 luck or 119 luck accordingly, and then get the fortune spheres to be able to activate those luck nodes with your characters. So that's what I'm going to be going over here, which is going to be the tactics for completing that as quickly as possible. So in order to raise luck, you need to be able to get the actual luck nodes and put those +4 luck nodes on the grid. I never use the +4, the +1, +2 or +3 luck nodes. It's not worth the time to get the fortune spheres. I just wipe those off the grid with clear spheres. So this is the tactic for getting these +4 luck nodes. This is Greater Sphere, and any special attack like an overdrive, it will counter with Hydraulic Press. Now you can reduce Hydraulic Press's 93.75% damage by using Protect or Defend, but we don't want to do that. What we want to do is, we want it to have Comrade Overdrive with all 3 characters, so that when Wakka starts off the battle with attack reels, it does a massive amount of damage, but then Riku and Tidus' overdrive bars are refilled. So is Wakka's, so you can just go right back to fighting Luck Sphere after killing him, and Wakka will have his overdrive full again. So you need Wakka with Auto Haste and no characters with Auto Protect. So take the Auto Haste armors off Riku and Tidus and just give Wakka his Auto Haste armor. Now there is the armor that will cover for Earth Eater, which you can use for this, so that's convenient. But Basically, you want him to have auto haste. The other two characters do not have auto haste. Wakka's to start with attack reels, and then Greater Sphere will counter with hydraulic press and give Riku and Tidus their overdrives. Now, Riku, you saw there, mixed 2 potions to fully fill all the health of all 3 characters. That is purely a convenience thing. I just bought 99 potions, and then I was using that so I didn't have to go back to the save sphere in between each Greater Sphere fight. But that bit is just a pure luxury, so don't worry about that. You can just go back to the save sphere and touch it to re-heal after each Greater Sphere fight if you want. So that is purely convenience. You can see here again, Wakka starts off the battle. He has auto haste, so he's the quickest. He uses attack reels and it does a stunning amount of damage because it's 99. It's 100,000 per hit, so it does almost 1.2 million damage. And Greater Sphere has 1.5 million health. Greater Sphere counters with hydraulic press, and because nobody is using defend or protect or auto protect, it refills everybody's gauge because of Comrade. They all have Comrade overdrive mode. Riku can heal by mixing 2 potions, and then Tidus can finish it off with a slice and dice. So that is the quickest way of taking out Greater Sphere. Now, if you don't have attack reels, then obviously this would take a lot longer and you'd have to fight it properly. But if Yuna is maxed, if her stats are maxed and Anima has really high strength, then you can just use, you can start the battle with Tidus using auto haste and slice and dice instead. That will cause hydraulic press, which will fill Riku and Yuna's overdrive gauges, and then Yuna can grand summon Anima instead and use Oblivion to finish it off for the overkill. So you can do it without Wakka as well. So figure out how many luck spheres you need for your chosen level of luck. So I was going for 114 luck, and so I needed an extra 24 luck spheres, so beating Greater Sphere approximately 12 times. Now, to get the actual fortune spheres, this is the bit that takes so long. So there, Wakka had 255 strength, defense and magic defense, and here is this special armor that you need for farming Earth Eater. So you want a 4-slot armor and put death proof, auto shell, auto haste and auto regen on. So that shouldn't be a problem because you're not going to use those abilities apart from auto haste on any other armor. So you should be able to either bribe or use the items to get that armor. Now, this is the other thing you need. You need the Loner Overdrive mode, which will fill your overdrive gauge every time that character is by themselves. And you will need to learn this first, and you cannot learn overdrive modes outside of the monster arena. So you need to go and find a fight with either a magic pot or a flan. So the flame flan on the Calm Lands is pretty easy to get. So find a fight, kill the other characters off, and kill all the other enemies. And then you use a sleeping powder to put the flan to sleep and use the white magic slow to slow it down. So once the flan is slowed and asleep, they're quite slow anyway, and so they won't really get any turns, so that's taking care of the actual flan. Now all we need to do is just have a bunch of turns with Wakka himself. So he's got this auto haste armor, and I've already put the auto regen and everything on it. So what I can do is I can use a dream powder and put Wakka to sleep as well. And all this does is it saves the convenience of having to press triangle or Y a bunch of times to defend. Because you can see that Wakka just instantly takes all of his turns that he's supposed to before his next turn comes up. So he spends that however many turns asleep. And each one of those counts as a turn for Loner. So if you do this and just keep throwing dream powders, after about 3 minutes or just under that, you will very, very quickly learn the Loner Overdrive mode. So this is the tactic for the perfect Earth Eater fight, and this is the fastest that you can possibly do it. So you start off with 2 characters, the 2 slowest characters, and they just need, one of them needs to have initiative. And then Wakka has this deathproof, auto haste, auto shell, auto regen armor. And he starts off by attacking Earth Eater. Now Earth Eater will counter one of the 3 characters at random, hopefully hitting somebody other than Wakka. But if he does hit Wakka, that's why we have death proof on the armor, so that Wakka doesn't die, although he will take a couple of thousand damage. That's not the end of the world because of his 255 strength. So then you use attack reels after you have defended or used the world champion weapon switch to world champion a couple of times. So you do attack and Earth Eater counters, and then use attack reels, and that will knock over Earth Eater. So you want the 12 hit attack reels. And then you defend a couple of times, and that will fill your overdrive with Loner and world champion again. And then you can use attack reels. Now because we have auto shell and auto regen with 255 magic defense, all you have to do after that is defend one more turn and then overkill Earth Eater. So in the time it took me to describe that, we've already beaten Earth Eater once. It takes about 1 minute and 5 seconds there, give or take. So it's about anywhere between 1:03 and 1:08 seconds, and is by far the fastest way of getting fortune spheres, because with this method you overkill him and you get 2 fortune spheres a time, apart from when you have the rare drops and he gives you dark matter. So hopefully most of the time Megaton Punch will instead hit one of the other characters, like I say. So you can see there again, as soon as Wakka gets his turn, he gets the Loner Overdrive mode. So Earth Eater has already been hit once by an attack for 100k, and then you can use attack reels again and knock him over. So this is completely repeatable, and unless Earth Eater hits Wakka randomly with the first Megaton Punch quite a few times in a row, the auto regen will out damage the flare counters and the odd Megaton Punch as well. And so you never have to go back to the save sphere or anything. If you get hit by a couple of Megaton Punches in a row and Wakka sort of starts getting towards sort of 4,000 or 5,000 health, you can just simply use Kiraga instead of defend on one of the turns and boost his HP up a little bit. So you never have to go to the save sphere, and you can just repeat this. And assuming you're good at attack reels, this is by far the fastest method of farming fortune spheres. Because you get 2 fortune spheres every time that Earth Eater doesn't give you dark matter, so most of the time you'll get 2 fortune spheres, you can get enough fortune spheres to get a character 114 luck, so those 24 fortune spheres per character, in about 20 minutes. So that's really not long at all, considering how much grinding you've already done and how much you've already played the game. Now, if you don't want to use Wakka, then the fastest option is to get Bulk fully powered up and unlock Nemesis. As you can see here, I've just got the 10 Master Spheres for unlocking Nemesis. Now, aside from being able to mug from Nemesis and getting a couple of level 4 key spheres on the cheap, these Master Spheres are very useful because the method for using Tidus uses Slice and Dice overdrive, and that needs to be getting critical hits as often as possible to take as short a time as possible. So Tidus actually does need his luck to be as high as possible if you're going to use him instead of Wakka. Now, what this involves for Tidus' method is he needs to be using Slice and Dice, which is why having your luck higher is better, and I would use those 10 Master Spheres and the 4 Fortune Spheres that you get throughout the game on Tidus if you're planning on using him for raising your luck instead of Wakka. So he has Bulk fully powered up, and then a shield with auto reflect, so that is literally all you need for this on his armor. He has 255 strength, the Loner Overdrive mode, and 170 plus agility. And then the other 2 characters just need to be with your characters with first strike, and one of them also needs initiative. Now the 2 first strike characters try and attack Tidus, and he just counters and knocks them out with evade and counter, so he is on his own. Then you use the weapon switch command to switch to Bulk twice if needed, so that you get the overdrive from Loner, and then just start using Slice and Dice. Now if Slice and Dice critical hits virtually every time, it will do enough damage to kill Earth Eater in 4 Slice and Dices. So every time you get 2 Fortune Spheres, you want to use them on Tidus immediately, so his luck keeps getting higher and higher. And then you cast haste on yourself with the auto reflect armor. Now that speeds Earth Eater up, which is extremely dangerous, except it takes him 2 turns to bounce back. So he gets knocked over, and instead of you hitting him while he is knocked over on his back and him countering with flare, you are using haste on your auto reflect shield, so that he very quickly stands back up instead. And so every time you hit him, you've already got overdrive back by the time it comes to you taking your turn with Tidus, and it will knock him back down and he never gets a turn. So if you don't have high enough luck to critical every time, which you won't when you start this process, you can still just use Slice and Dice. It'll just be doing about 27k a hit instead. And just keep doing that until Earth Eater dies. And then every time you get 2 Fortune Spheres from him, you raise Tidus' luck. And eventually when your luck is high enough like this, it'll critical hit virtually every time, and he will die, Earth Eater will die in 4 Slice and Dices. So that's an alternative method there if you don't want to use Wakka. Those are the absolute 2 fastest methods of farming luck. So taking all that into account, especially if you use the Wakka method, which takes about 1 minute and 5 seconds per fight, you can very easily get about the sort of 24 Fortune Spheres you need to get a character to have high enough luck at 114. And you can see here that my game clock was about 68 hours 43 when I started, and I've already got 26 Fortune Spheres there, and the game clock is only at 69:05. So please use the Loner methods with either Wakka or with Tidus, because it is so much quicker, and 114 luck, and especially if you're only going for 85 luck, will only take you around 40 to 45 minutes to get 85 luck with 3 characters, or maybe about an hour, which if you think about it is really not very much at all to get 113 or 114 luck with your main characters. So I hope you found that useful. Those are some of the most important things I can think of for the stat maxing and quickly getting those luck and fortune spheres. And if you did find it useful, please like and subscribe and comment for more videos. Thank you for watching.